Hello everybody, welcome back. So we've got another dev blog dropped yesterday. It looks like they're actually sticking to their schedule of doing it weekly. So I guess I'm going to start checking back in more often on this. But from the few things I have seen people complaining about, this is going to be pretty big, especially when it comes to Bastion. But I'm not going to get ahead of myself. Let's just go ahead and get into it and take a look. So, Weekly Recall, The Balancing Act, June 13th, 2025. I love how Freya has pictures in there, so hopefully that means changes are coming for her, because there's still been a lot of complaints. Hey everyone, Scott here, reporting... Scott. Is that Custa? I think it might be. I don't know. Anyway, Scott here, reporting for the hero design team about a subject that's always at the forefront of our mind, balance. This is one of the trickiest part of games development and often one of the hottest topics in the Overwatch community. We want to show you a bit of what the process looks like from start to finish and how we arrive at balance changes from hero-specific adjustments to whole game modifications. You'll also get a sneak peek at some of the changes that are coming in Season 17, which is next week, I believe? Data, feedback, action. If it wasn't obvious from past weekly recall blogs and director's takes, we're big fans of data here on the Overwatch 2 team. I mean, that's an understatement. Nearly every unpopular change they've ever made has been backed by data. So data does not always equal popular, but keep taking a look here. Some of our balance changes are inspired by tangible numbers that come from various sources like pick or red. Oh, sorry. Feel like I'm about to sneeze. Sorry about that. We aim to keep heroes within a set win percentage of 45 to 55%, and if they deviate from it, we know something needs to be done. This is less about making all heroes viable in every situation, and more about ensuring no hero is ever universally a wrong choice. Hero ban data has added a whole new set of information we can use, and this feature essentially gives you all a direct line to the balance team by way of collected data. High ban rates are a concrete indicator that a hero is an issue for a large subset of players and leads to us to take a much closer look at what we can do to improve the experience in playing against certain heroes. I am very glad that they are taking this approach, because I know people are tired of hearing about Sombra, but she's just the perfect example for this situation. For years, her win rate has been decent. It's been within that 45 to 55%. So just going off tangible data that they had, there'd be nothing to suggest the change. Which is why when she had her rework, the core problems didn't change. She was still just as annoying to play against as she always was. But that's always been the issue. It's not that she was a meta pick or a throw pick. It's just that she was annoying. So having the ban option, we can give them tangible data other than win rates on, hey, we don't like this character. So I do like that they are going to be using the ban rates as a main source of data for adjusting characters. I still have no idea how they can fix Sombra, though. They're going to have to just get rid of one of her abilities. The fact that she can be invisible and the fact that she can shut off other people's abilities are both very powerful parts of the kit. One of them has to go. Yeah, I don't see any other way they can fix her. My only thing about the only reason I would support leaving Sombra as she is simply because personally I find Genji to be more annoying to deal with than Sombra. Simply because the hero pool that I play is better against Sombra than it is against Genji. But for the community as the whole, yeah, that's going to need a full rework. Where was I? Okay, contextualizing the data we've gathered is important, and it helps us to identify changes that need to be made. For example, Widowmaker has a decently high ban rate on sniper playgrounds like Havana, but that doesn't mean she needs immediate changes. Some players just don't want to catch a headshot right out of spawn. Freya is an excellent example of how we've already used hero ban data to make improvements. Her win rates were low after she was introduced, so we strengthened part of her kits to make it more impactful. However, as players got better with that kit, her hero ban rate skyrocketed at the highest of skill tiers. Above diamond rank in competitive mode, Freya is the most banned hero in multiple regions. That's honestly kind of surprising. I mean, obviously Sombra is still going to be up there, but I was not expecting Freya to be top 3. But then again, I play in the low ranks where nobody can aim, so I guess it's different at higher ranks. Data is helpful to identify a specific issue, but after we look at your feedback and delve into how a hero feels within matches. For Freya, we asked ourselves what her pain points were and analyzed community input. The biggest concerns you shared was how oppressive she felt, especially when allowed to spam damage while airborne. See, I've never really had an issue with the airborne thing. In fact, when she ADSs while in the air, she freezes in place like a far ult. That's about the easiest target you could ever hit because there's no cover up there. So I don't know who's complaining about that part. That's a little strange. The biggest issue I have is just how I'm going to compare it to Hanzo. On Hanzo, it always feels bad when you die to a random RNG arrow across the map, around a corner, yada, yada, yada. But it's understandable because he has a very slow fire rate, very low impactful kit. His ult is basically useless if you don't have something to combine it with, like a Mei ult or a Zarya grab. So all of that boils down to his just being his shots. So it's as annoying as it is, you die to it, you move on. It's quick, painless, whatever. Freya, for me, the part of the annoyance isn't the fact that she can kill me from across the map. It's the slow death. You get stuck with an arrow, and if you don't have some kind of ability to negate the explosion that comes after you for that 1 second, you're just like, well, I'm going to die. Doesn't matter if you walk around the corner, doesn't matter if you run away, doesn't matter what you do. You're just going to explode. It's like being stuck with a pulse bomb every 3 seconds. And so it's just an annoying feeling. So honestly, if I was to rework Freya to make it less complaint, I would remove the explosion. It's cool from a lore perspective, but it's not necessary to the game. Slightly raise the damage on the arrow itself as a compensation buff, and then remove the explosion is how I would fix Freya. But we'll see if the changes to shooting while in air somehow makes things different. But I disagree with that one. This led us to increase the cooldowns of her movement abilities, quick dash and updraft, while also increasing her primary weapon reload time to avoid such constant spam damage. Freya is still a devastating damage dealer, but small tweaks make her less of a terror to play against. Both her win rate and ban rate have stabilized, and we're continuously monitoring all of the data to ensure that she lands in a balanced, fun state. Despite the presence of compelling data, improvements aren't so clear for immediate for some heroes. Sombra's ban rate are high in multiple regions on both PC and console, and we're currently discussing future changes. She's a complex case that can't be solved overnight, but know that the balance team has her in their sights. I wish they'd given a little bit more on that, but I understand it, because again, I have no idea what they could possibly do to fix her without giving her a completely different kit. Thinking outside the box. Data isn't the only way we decide balance changes, though. Gameplay factors like enjoyment and ease of playing a hero, or their ability to keep up with the rest of the Overwatch 2 roster, influence our decisions. We also pull back and look at gameplay with a wider lens to take more overarching changes. One big adjustment heading into Season 17 is increasing the damage roll passive healing reduction from 25% to 30%. Oh boy. Which should help the damage dealers better contend with the amount of healing that support heroes are churning out. The basic global health regeneration timer is also increasing from 5 to 6 seconds in an effort to make damage feel more impactful within matches. Oh boy. Who was asking for this? I mean, seriously, who? I get people keep complaining about tanks are raid bosses, they can't die, yada, 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 yada. Kill the supports first and then they die. It's not that hard. Tanks explode just as fast, as not faster, as any other character in the game, as long as you play it right. 90% of games that I am in are decided by the DPS already. Whether they're getting picks, whether they're flanking and splitting teams' focus, whether they are just being a nuisance in the backline, whether they are taking headshots from across the map. DPS already has the biggest impact on a match 90% of the time. If I have a shit healer on my team, I know where to go get a med pack. I know I have to play safer, or I can swap to a character that can heal themselves if I need to. I can adjust for that. If my tank is bad, if I'm on DPS, I focus their backline harder. If I'm on support, I just say let my tank die and focus on keeping my DPS alive. It can be done. But if I have a terrible DPS on my team, there's nothing I can do to compensate for it. Burst damage is the most important thing in this game. It decides 90% of fights, and 90% of the burst damage comes from your DPS. They are the ones who decide whether or not a pick gets secured quickly or not. And the DPS passive was broken at 15%. Even more so at 20%. I didn't even realize it had gone up to 25%. But that explains so much. But moving it to 30%? That's not going to change the outcome of the fights at all. DPS are already the most impactful in the fight. They don't feel like it. I'll give you that. From the feedback loop in the fights, DPS does not feel the most impactful. Sometimes they feel like they have the least impact. But when you actually sit down and watch what causes the characters to explode quickly, it always comes from the DPS. So it may not have the best feedback and feel the best when you're playing DPS, but there's no doubt that you have the most impact on the fight. I've lost count of the times we've won matches for free just because they were chasing me around the map when I was on Tracer. I could go 0-10, and as long as I kept half their team chasing me, we got a free win. That's not going to be seen in the stats. I could be on Soldier, going corner to corner, high ground to low ground. Keep their focus split the whole time so they never have more than 2 people to send at my tank. Guess what? My tank can then walk through them. But that's not going to show on the stats. This is a terrible change. I don't get it. I really don't. Oh my gosh. I understand people complaining that tanks feel too strong. I understand people complaining that nothing dies when a tank is getting double pocketed. I understand that frustration. But those are situations where people are playing stupid in the first place. If you have a tank that is being double pocketed by the supports, then that means their DPS are most likely going to be free picks. Stop fighting the tank and go kill their DPS. Oh, this has got my blood boiling. This is such a stupid change. Okay, I just need to move on. Let's just move on. Other times we zoom in on hero-specific changes that mean a lot to us. When I first joined the hero design team last year, one of my initial balance pitches was a little wild. I wanted to shrink Bastion. Before we go further with this is the one I've already seen people complaining about. I actually agree with this decision 100%. I don't remember if it was my previous video or the one before that, but sometime recently I've talked about Bastion. And actually it might have been when I was arguing with somebody on one of the forums, but I've talked about Bastion. He's almost unplayable above probably platinum, gold to platinum, because he just explodes. Yes, he does. He is the definition of a glass cannon. You can do massive amounts of damage, especially in your turret form. but you've got the biggest hitbox of any DPS in the game and the slowest movement along with it. So if you're set up anywhere that they can see you, you're going to explode just as fast as they kill you. I mean, as you kill them. It's just not worth the trade in most fights. So let's see how much they're shrinking him by. I probably would do 10 to 15% on the hitbox. Yeah, giving him shield or armor wouldn't compensate because he's still going to be stuck in place, or basically stuck in place. He can still move just very slowly. So yeah, hitbox shrink's a good change there. Our favorite, Cheerful Omnic, does a ton of damage, but the sheer size of his character model makes him difficult to play in many situations. Bastion struggles with survivability even though he has the largest health and armor pool of any damage hero. Though I was initially, and correctly, told that it would be difficult change to implement, other departments across the Overwatch 2 team joined the cause, and we took a tinier Bastion into internal testing. We found that reducing his size by 15% simply made him too cute, so we kept tweaking all the numbers. Okay, so they are changing the physical size, not just the hitbox. That's a surprise. I was expecting them to do like they did with Junker Queen and just adjust the hitbox, whatever season that was. Bastion size will be reduced by 10% when Season 17 launches, giving him a survivability boost, so that's just a week away. While it's not the most earth-shattering change to ever hit Overwatch, it's a testament to how many different ways we can change and balance the game for every hero. Other than a tinier and possibly more ferocious Bastion, you could expect lots of minor hero balance changes when Season 17 hits on June 24th. Oh, 10 days away, so it's about a week and a half. Junker Queen will see some important changes to her commanding shout that prioritize ally overhealth, making her more viable offensive tank choice. Perks like Pharah's Helix Shield and Lifeweaver's Cleansing Grasp will get some quality of life improvements as well. Thanks for playing, good luck, and have fun. So it looks like there's going to be a lot of changes to talk about when Season 17 does drop. The Bastion size is a good change. I'm curious what they're going to do with Sombra. I still can't get over them increasing the DPS passive. Nothing good's going to come from that. They keep raising it. Why do they... I know why they keep raising it. I just don't like it. They've said multiple times, the DPS players make up the majority of their players. So anytime DPS is not happy, they get the most complaints. That's all this is. Has nothing to do with the health of the game or truly balancing it. They're just doing this to stop all the DPS players that are whining that they can't kill the tank 1v1. That's all it is. And nobody wants to accept the fact that in 5v5, the tank should be able to win any 1v1. That is the reality of it. When you are doing the role of two people, you have to be able to do the work of two people. So every tank in the game should be strong enough to 1v1 any DPS or any support. And if played correctly, could potentially 1v2 the DPSs, or 1v2 the supports. But that should require skill. You should be able to 1v1 any of the other roles without thought. It should be straight up easy. And then 1v2 should require a lot of effort. So tank itself should be, I'd say, like 1.75 times the strength of a DPS. Would probably be, if I had to put a number on it. But no, because the biggest player base is DPS, they're going to whine about it. And before anyone starts saying, well, that's just my voice as a tank player. I'm not a tank player. I'm not an anything player. I'm flex. I literally queue all roles every time I play. I genuinely don't mind playing any role. And it's just that I feel it. When I'm on DPS, I feel how much impact I have. Especially if I'm on a mid or a long range character. I can melt their tanks before they ever get to me already. This is an unnecessary change, and I guess I should go watch some of the streamer reviews and see what they said about this, because for me, this looks like straight up stupid change. If they should have nerfed the DPS passive. Again, I didn't realize it had been put up to 25, but it needs to be put back at 20 or lower, not 30. I mean, I can agree with increasing the time for the self-regen from 5 to 6. That's fine. Because there's been multiple times I've been 1 HP running from somebody, and then my health just started going back up too quick. Honestly, I'd say put this up even higher, maybe 8 seconds. Because if you're chasing somebody low health, it's not fair for them to start regenning before you can finish them off after that work. I'd say put this at 8 seconds. But this should not happen. That should not exist. I don't know. Well, that's going to be it for this week's dev blog. Hope y'all have a good one.